point.
Let's get it. Damn, boy. What should I do? I'll stay what I'm doing.
I don't
it'll
stay
work.
down. Increasing altitude. Oh, sorry, Reinhardt.
Damn it.
Team kill. Shake it off.
I learned from my mistakes.
Adaptive circuit engaged. Bara.
Yeah.
Thunderbird systems online.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. A little quicker.
Probably wasn't the best.
I
Oh,
look after my
that was
own.
a good shot though. Ah. How do I have 8 eliminations, but only 2 final
my
blows
head's
and
in
0
the
silicon? Okay.
Round 2.
Yeah, boy. Much better.
Score 1-1. Doc, I got this rash that
Okey-dokey.
won't go away. I tried everything. Radiation, dirt, radioactive dirt.
Have you tried bandaging your mouth?
Would that help?
Help me.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Okie dokie.
Taking off.
Nice.
Another.
Nice. Oh, come on.
Claiming the objective. Your end is within
Where is she? Where is she go? Yeah, boy, come on, let's go. Whoop, better get out of there. Alright, better get out of there.
Got one.
Nice.
Blast.
Lol, you can't... You just chuck me off there? Bro, for real? Look what I'm playing as. Friggin' Farah, I can fly. Yo, thanks to whoever just joined. I am alive. Nice. Oh, so close to getting. That was so close.
The wait is over.
I'll put my thing on here so I can chat with you properly. Maybe I will be Tracer, you fool. How you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen,
No, you can't be Tracer because I'm not. I won't allow it. Oh, where'd you go now? Not yet. Waiting. Nah, not Widowmaker either. I won't. That was such a terrible ult. I am disgusted with myself. I'm not allowed to play this game anymore.
Shake it off.
stiff upper lip now. You've come back from worse.
Nah, Bastion's actually been significantly nerfed lately, so yeah, I don't think you'll have much success with that. Probably won't do you much good, yeah. No, I already told you that I'm not Winston, but you can't be Winston. Such a dumb joke. Okay, focus. Of course I'm right. I don't know. Do we already have a Genji? Oh, we just lost, so you can't. It's too late. I can probably invite you to the game though, if you actually do want to play.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Orisa.
And before you ask, I already picked McCree, but it wasn't useful in that particular match, so I wouldn't go for that one either. No, I just told you, I already picked McCree, but it wasn't really useful. What do you have an idea? What's that idea? I have an idea. To go on a date tonight, and I'll get some of my friends to come beat you up, but we will let you win. Damn, we are good at views, boy. I don't want to be Mercy. Maybe, well, the thing is, bro, I'm locked into, frickin' tank at the moment. Maybe you should learn how this gosh dang game works. I'm happy for this person and their horsey.
4, 3, 2, 1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
I am not a soy boy. You are the soyest of boys. When you open your mouth, it is literally soy face. I remember I got you. I remember when we were hanging on stream, I'm just like, look to the camera and open your mouth, and you did. I'm like, soy face!
Don't let them push any further.
That is so much projection. I cannot even right now. That is so much projection. I'm playing horribly. The level of projection in what you just said is astounding. It is pure a cope, you know, condensed. It is condensed extract of cope. I'm glad it's not projecting because you're projecting on me. Boy, the level of projection is reaching levels that should not be possible. If it was anyone else but you. I don't know what that Tracer was still thinking.
Pick up your fate, you drongos! Can't let them keep going!
You're putting unfair... How? Okay, I'm sorry that being a decent effing human being is an because I'm a good freaking person. That is so annoying. I'm a good freaking person. Yeah, sure you are. People like to talk about being a good freaking person. How much do they volunteer to help other people? Zero. They're just a good person because they think the right thing. I don't like how people like do that now. It's like, it doesn't matter what you do or how you treat people, it's about thinking the right thing, and that makes you a good effing person. Yeah, I effing said effing. What the effing you gonna do about it? What the frick are you gonna do about it? Oh, I hit no one. That was terrible. Oh, I should have done way closer with that. I am not doing good against this guy. What am I doing? Get. Oh well. Freaking. Get the freaking. Literally the cringiest freaking. So who have we actually got watching today? I'm curious. Are people first time watching or like... boy. I should have been just a little more... bit more cautious. I just started thinking about that show, Pinky Doo, where she tells stories to her brother in a box. In a story box. Yes, sir, Rooney. Posituni.
Let's go.
We're going to the story box. I think she says that she lives in great big city, but when I think about it, it's probably like in reference to New York. Pinky Dinky Doo's home city just seems like New York to me. Like, she lives in an apartment, right? She's just her and her brother and mum and dad. It's like they were just, you know, middle class family. Apparently, yeah, they definitely lived in New York. Where'd this fool go? Fool?
It's only buckshot.
It's only buckshot to your face and you're dead. How did that get cancelled on me? Damn! Maybe I'll be Tracer. Huh? If you failed at it. Damn it! That was close. How are you doing today, Ledge? Or Luca?
Lucky shot. My turn.
Things are very quiet now. This is quiet for me.
Now we push. Do not falter.
Outnumbered.
Oogly boogly, your ass is mine, boy. Gosh darn it, Tracer. Why are you looking so
My
fine?
robot, did they? Bad move.
Let you fall.
It's from, you should, Ledge, or Luca, or anyone watching, if you haven't seen a movie called Shark vs. Eagle, definitely watch it. It's directed by Taika Waititi, and it's really good. My headcanon is that the Eagle guy is definitely autistic. Like, I don't think that was intentional, but that's my headcanon. And I'm actually glad it's not his intention, because if it was the intention, it would be like, oh, why would... That's kind of mean. But that's the great thing about autism headcanons. It can just be your own headcanon and you can laugh at it. I'll probably make a video on that, on the value of autism headcanons and why it's good they're not actually canon.
Time for the reckoning.
Like Toaster 69. Hey, Toasters, bro, Toasters have killed lots of people, okay? Particularly when it's used in a bar. I'm sorry, I should not have said that. Haven't you played Ratchet Clank 2? Oh, good thing that wasn't little Susie. So next time your toaster doesn't blow up in your face, give a friendly thanks to Megacorp Testing Facility. We need to play...
Some scrap.
through Ratchet and Clank. We need to play through Spyro. Maybe we'll play Spyro. We've already played Spyro. Maybe Ocarina. Already Ocarina. I'm dead. I'm so not focusing properly, eh? That's just fun. Good thing I'm not playing competitive right now. Because I'd be way too distracted with just the entertainment part of the stream right now. Die, you fool!
Stay close to the robot. Just a bit further.
I'm waiting for you to write something very disapproving of my joke just before. Okay, I'm gonna go back to making TikTok. Wow, cringe. Cringe. Yeah, I've got a burn that I forgot to do for your roast, bro. Like, remember how you made that stream about, or you made that TikTok saying, I'm not small streamer, I'm undiscovered. Well, yeah, technically most of the world's oceans are undiscovered, all the nooks and crevices and caves. Like, the same thing with all your rolls of fat. Just because your whole body hasn't been discovered.
That's right.
I'm sorry, that was so mean.
Arriving at Watchpoint Gibraltar. Play of the game.
You know, the reason why I was asking you during that roast, are you actually a ginger? If you were gonna say no, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, ginger, streamer, whatever, cringe. I mean, I'm a human being who's deserving of equal treatment and human rights. No, sorry, no, that's not the joke. It was gonna be, ginger, Irish, same thing. Neither of you are human. But you know, oh, I died because of the potato famine. Skill issue. Oh boy. I think I'll put the thing down just to see better. Let's look at some of McCree's skins. Oh, another one. Yeah, I'm racist against gingers. I'm also sexist against robots. I think for this one I'll go Diva, because we don't have any anyone else that does except maybe, you know.
Stick together. Let me take the hits.
Wow, are you being ableist right now? That is so ableist, bro.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round
Get a unique.
capture the objective.
Here's a unique opinion. Maybe colorblind people. No, that's not the. Soy boy isn't a disability, so why are you being ableist against soy boys? Oh wait, it is a disability, therefore stop being ableist against soy boys. What, you think I was talking about colorblindness? What's wrong with you? I need to start playing better now. I'm gonna focus. I'm having too much fun being a dingus. Being a soy boy isn't... No! Sounds like internalized, ableism, you soy boy. And it is. It is a disability, because you have it. That's what the DSM, that is what the APA, the APS, all the different bodies say. The criteria for a disability or mental illness, anything to do with Luca. It's going to be the DMS6. Return of the Luca. Return of the illness. Down with the Luca. Oh wow! This boy. Did you just... Didn't even... What? Well, you wouldn't know projection if you were doing it. If you are. That was a much... Dude, I had the best Diva game yesterday. I was killing it. Like, oh crap, I'm feeling it! Are you working a cinema? No. Oh dang, I was gonna work in a cinema. Well, I didn't actually properly apply for the job. So... I didn't even know if I was gonna get it or not. Maybe. I did the video. They asked me to send in like a video of it, and I was gonna do that. But I didn't. Sounds like my attempt at making a YouTube channel. I was gonna make a video, but then I didn't. Is this Tracer for real? Am I gonna beat this Tracer? Oh, damn it.
First round, 1.
You also, oh, so you're the projector, are you? Are you the projector manager? Wow, so you know all about projection. You do it all the time. He's admitted it, folks. Right here. Live on Dread Zone.
No mistakes, no mercy.
Hey, question. Did you name your Discord, Luke, whatever, House of Legends because of big old Auntie Donna's big old House of Fun?
Capture the objective.
That's a W.
Keep it going.
Exactly. Do not... It's like how yesterday I kept saying to you... Sure sounds nice to be productive. Couldn't be me. I'm glad I'm streaming again, because on days where I'm not really feeling it, like doing other things, but not wanting to be lazy, like I can, well, I am being lazy, but I'm doing something, you know? Doing something which is building on something. People in the chat, share. If you could share the stream, greatly appreciate it. Oh, and it just dropped. Damn, I've used this drop to do it. That sucks. Damn. Yeah. I wonder if he's actually going to edit the last birthday roast into a video. Like, cut it down and whatnot.
Initializing system.
Good move. Maybe taking myself. Oh, come on. That was close as. You know, I'll do that after.
My ultimate is ready.
Oh, you guys didn't miss anything. It was just... Big boy. No. Yeah, boy. Alrighty. Good stuff, guys. GG.
Play of the game.
Oh, dang, it was... Oh, no, it was the other player. Why? Forgive me. Don't do that. Don't give me hope.
Enjoy that kill cam.
I'll give it to... Monkey. Nice. Okay. Overwatch Battle Pass. Okay, let's do healing. We should do some healing. I will heal you. Nein. So anyway, that is how I lost my medical license.
Traveling to Havana.
Ugh.
Sie werden dich nicht kriegen.
Yeah. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Well, okay, jeez.
30 seconds remaining.
Humanity is shackled.
Oh, jumped in the middle of almost done game.
Your end is within my reach. My servants never die.
10 seconds remaining.
Ah, bad aim, that was bad.
Dragon consume you! Must strike them down!
You cannot escape me.
Take everything from them. Ja! Nein!
Process begins again.
Witness the flame of my soul!
No! We don't know. Ah, man. Oh well. GG.
Play of the game.
I'll give it to them two. I'm ready. I'm ready to be brief, sir. And her ultimate's actually good for killing people, so I might get that ultimate challenge as well. Nice.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Bean soup, boy.
Humanity is shackled. I will find the key. More field research? Grand. Pre-flight checklist.
I need a hero.
Running clean and hot.
I'm gonna never need
You are bold to stand against Vishkar or Tobo. I'm not alone. The scientific community is on my side.
It would be wise not to count on that for long.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
On with it. Is sick for the parch.
I must heal you.
I offer something more.
Yeah. Oh, frick.
Reposition.
I'm trying to heal you, you frickin' prick.
Big Spire Lap.
Oh, thank you for the help.
Cannot escape me. Messy, but we got it done. All
very nice.
experiments must come to an end.
Very nice. Thank you. Very nice.
Edge is within my reach, Spire Lap.
No. Not worth it. Not worth it. Oi. Oi, vey. Oi.
Evolution is a painful path to walk. Rocket barrage incoming! Reforming you. Receive my aid. My power emanates.
Oh, that was terrible. That was a terrible shot.
Against your weakness.
Ooh. That suddenly. That was very sudden. Like, it's good, we're good, we're good, we're good. Nope. We're not.
No
A
opposition is
sniper! Watch
unsurmountable.
your head!
Mate, you're off your head, eh? Mate, you've been off your head. You've been dragging. Mate, you dragging.
Careful, we're outnumbered.
Just get you explain why.
For the punch. They never let such greed. Surrender to my will. Objective lost. Stop the
Stop having a big boat. Open the country. We have boats with guns. Guns.
other soul.
Enemy
My ultimate is
sniper!
ready.
Keep your eyes open.
I offer something more.
Oh man.
Let's group up. Shall we do this together?
Misery made manifest. Nothing remains. A cure for all the days.
Get in there, Beelzebub! Rocket barrage incoming!
Persephone was right. Taste of one.
The trio life is
Lending a
ready.
hand.
Just what I needed.
We're going backwards. Wait, are we filming a flashback?
Enemy sniper! Get your head down!
You cannot escape me.
Gonna blow!
Oh, that was terrible. Terrible shot.
Safety in numbers.
Thank you.
It's within my reach.
Hold me up.
Your strength becomes mine.
Taking to the air.
I couldn't have done better.
Pain is inevitable.
Give them one.
Oh!
Still be of use to me.
Just how quickly you just whoosh, her health went down with that.
60 seconds.
Oh no, bad
My
decision.
will.
Should not have done that. Release.
Your end is within my reach. It's settled.
Oh, frick. I can't believe you've done this.
Evolution is a painful beautiful path to walk.
Incoming! You are a glutton for punishment.
Gale from a hole.
Yeah, boy. We off the grid. Good stuff, guys. Give 1 to... I did good. Oh no, that was meant for... Oh no, should be close. That was meant for... It's Satine.
I can always count.
GG.
Impeccable.
Ah, someone's joined us. Hello there. I'm just checking our challenges. And there you go. Ah, thank you.
Arriving at Antarctic Peninsula. For battle, select your hero.
I'm being silly. I need to get going. Sorry, I'm back now.
Round capture the objective.
Why not?
Breaking me down just builds me up.
Yes.
I can protect you. Let me help you with that.
Thank you so much.
Help me.
The objective is now.
Damn. Who left? Fool?
Patching you up.
Watch out on the right side.
Shield buckling.
Nice, guys. Yeah! Hell yeah! You!
A pleasure.
Don't get shot.
You'll need more grit than that.
Let me take care of that for you. Looking better already. Surrounding to me. I'm under attack. Watch out.
That was maybe a bit hasty.
I have a new plan this time.
Hey, D.
Thanks.
Let's take him to the wasteland.
Over there. I could use some healing.
I mean, I want to give healing.
Let me help you with that.
You leave them alone.
Special delivery.
Okay. Soldier 36 reporting for duty.
Here, for you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Let's go win this thing.
Head back, bro. Head back. Oh dear.
First round. 1.
No, no, no. Let me save him. Let me save.
Score. 1
Yay.
to 0.
Many thanks to your fam.
If anybody asks, I was never here.
Yo, who's just joined?
Watch and live.
Magic Bean, you're here.
5, 4,
Were you in the last game?
1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
I like Brig. Brig's fun. And I feel it's the only support where if you're getting attacked, you're able to reasonably defend yourself, other than running away. Ah! Why is it saying to 0? It can't possibly be to 0.
I'll try a different approach.
Take the objective.
That's better. 1.
Outnumbered.
I hope I didn't cut out for a bit. That would suck.
Group up.
Happens sometimes. This is quick. Good to have you. Okay, this is not being. May not be the best thing to brig right now. I should have prioritized healing that punk person. Absolutely, you can hop in. Hop in next game, yeah?
Thank you so much.
Everyone, heal up. Hit him hard.
If you wouldn't mind also sharing the stream, I'd really appreciate that. Leave me alone! Ah, darn. Come on.
Barrels are smoking.
How are you guys doing though? Having a good day? Hope you are.
Here, take this.
Smoke, there's fire.
Time to go on a rampage.
Yeah, she seems to be pretty full on in the meta. But people don't really seem to be, like, targeting any of her, like, power things.
Let's take him to the wasteland.
I had a break from this game for a while, but coming back it's fun again. It's really fun.
Let me take care of that for you. Clearing the way. You're bucketed. Let me help you.
Yee, that wasn't good. For real, for real. Alright, dude. For sure. You get it.
Thank you. Take cover. The tree is gone.
How do I... I'm not sure I know how. Who should I give this to? Should I give this to... Yeah. Yeah, nice. That's not ready yet. Righto, righto.
Just doing my part.
There we go. Let's go. There we go. Let's get it. You want to go unranked? Let me see what my challenges are at the moment. I'm ready. I'm Australian. Was my accent a bit too subtle? Yeah, I'm a frickin' Australian, mate. How you flipping going? Didgeridoo. did you do, Vegemite?
Prepare for battle. Select your hero.
Still haven't got. I don't want to play though, to be honest. I don't. I tried a bit and wasn't good. Let's switch to maybe Baptiste. I haven't done him in a bit. Remember to switch to your team chat.
Another battlefield.
I still feel that
Hello there.
blow from yesterday's train.
Oh, come on. I didn't hit you that hard.
If that is the case, our enemies have much to fear.
You know what? It's
Hi there.
it's not that big of a mistake to make because we did come from the English, so some of our accent has some English undertones to it, and if you're not familiar with the accent, it can sound a bit British. So, there you go. Remember to sub if you're enjoying this. I've got some like proper content to record and upload coming in the works. Some stuff that I think is going to be really good, stuff I'm going to really be proud of. Stuff that's quite personal.
Moving the barricade.
That wasn't my best shot.
Sound like something out of Film Cow.
Over here.
Punch, Brody!
Reality
Mwah,
bends
mwah,
to my will.
mwah. Sound a bit like stick.
Always for a
Dragon becomes nice to be the patient for a
Ah, done.
I'm on fire. Come on.
Done.
change.
Okay, okay.
It's not over yet. I've got you in my sights.
Our numbers are
Yeah,
low.
British. Disgusting.
Get into the field.
I'll read that in a second. I got to random question and realised, well, that's the wrong thing. From America, it's about to be American football season. Is American football easily accessible to watch or advertise? Not really. Like,
My heart's still beating.
maybe
So,
we have
let's
one
go.
channel, I think, that has it, but
They're
it's
counting on
usually,
that.
like, right in the middle of the day when most people, doing their cringe 9 to 5. American football is a largely American thing, but there is a bit of a growing fan base in Australia. I think particularly with the younger generation, but the oldies aren't really in on it.
Stay near the immortality field. wasn't my best choice.
I'm on fire! What else to do?
In my like final two years of high school, there was actually a bit of a some of the boys were actually getting into gridiron. That's what sometimes called gridiron.
Forward spawn activated.
That's what we use. That's like, I might not be representative of like the general Australian population, but in my experience, people usually refer to American football as gridiron where I'm from. Might just be a Perth thing though, or not even a Perth thing. The general public knows very little about gridiron here. Like, there was an Australian player that started being like basically a mostly bench player in gridiron, and so many news stories were about how he's conquering the US and have an Australian punter on their team. Yeah, but like everyone was saying how it's like, oh, he's conquering the USA. No, he's not. He was literally a bench player and he wasn't doing that good when he was playing. Meanwhile, Andrew Bogut, the basketball player, had just won the NBA Finals with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and like the Warriors, and it's like no stories about him. There was a whole. There's a journalist in Australia who's one of the most respected journalists. He has a show called Media Watch, and what he'll do is he'll analyze the stories going on and pull up. Basically, he's a media watchdog, and he did a whole segment on how, that guy was like getting all these stories, and how many stories were about him conquering the US when he wasn't actually doing that good, and how little attention there was to Australians in other sporting leagues in America were doing well but weren't getting any stories. He's very good at his job. But yeah.
The barricade is moving. Keep its path clear.
The barrier is weak. My barrier is gone.
I am outstanding.
Do you know why they have Australian punters though? Because this is kind of an interesting thing.
Thanks for the help. We'll get you where you need to go.
They have taken hold of the robot. Behind you.
Get in here.
Partly because of rugby, but we also have a sport called Australian rules football, or Aussie rules, and the main ways of like passing the ball in that is either like kind of like an underarm punch to the ball, or by picking it up and kicking it. Like you drop the ball down to your foot and then boot it, and that's how the majority of goals are scored. Because if you kick it in, there's like 4 posts, 2 outside posts and 2 inside posts. If you kick it between the 2 inside posts, that's 6 points. If it hits any of the poles, or if it goes to between an inside and an outside post, or if you punt it in with your fist, it's only 1 point. And it's a very long field. So every position needs to know how to kick. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I'll actually just turn my mic up. Because my mic's actually a bit away from me.
I'm with you. I'm the dream of the cross. Immortality field deployed.
Alright, I'm gonna turn my mic up. Okay, is that better? Is that better? Cool. Should I repeat the whole thing I said before? Or... So basically, we have a sport called Australian Rules Football. And in that game, most of the time if you want to... Oh, damn. So we have... Yeah, okay. So we have a game called Australian Rules Football, which is... it's a bit like Gaelic football. Except you don't roll it on the ground like a soccer ball at all. But you do pick it up and kick it. And you can also do a underarm kind of swinging punch to the ball. Whoa, yo! Who's this guy? Who is... When did we talk on TF2? Damn. It's good to have you guys. If you guys haven't subbed, definitely do. But yeah. So every position in Aussie Rules Football, you need to learn how to kick. Like, it's essential. Of course, in rugby, they have people who are designated kickers. Nice. Good to see you, Goody. I haven't uploaded in a while, but it's good to see you. Did I talk about croissant or something? What did I talk about? Did I talk about, like, serious things or... Man, I haven't... You know, 3 years ago, that's about when I stopped playing TF2, because I'm a Mac peasant who only has a Mac, and they drop support of 32-bit applications. Oh, damn. Yeah, Mac dropped 32-bit applications, and TF2 was 32-bit, so... No, not really. I didn't learn any Australian history. A lot of what I know is through film and TV shows. I mean, do you guys learn much about Australian history? I wouldn't think so. Yeah. Because America is the center of the world, and then there's everything else. This place is this many miles from America. Yeah. We can talk some Australian history if you want. Like, that could be fun. It's, interesting. I think about, like, how central the foundation, the founding fathers and everything is, like, the mythos of it is, like, so inherent to how America identifies itself, to the point where it's like, if you criticize, like, America's kind of foundation as, you know, maybe we can improve upon it, some people are like, well, you hate America. It's like, well, no, I just think it can be improved. You know? I think that's part of the reason people are like, some people are like, if you don't agree with me, then you hate America if you want it to change it all. And it's, versus in Australia, like, we really don't have much idea about the ideas of why we federated in the first place. And honestly, things have kind of changed a bit. Like, the idea, one of the first laws that was ever passed in our newly federated parliament was an anti-immigration law. And that changed very quickly because now we're built on immigration. I mean, the Industrial Revolution also happened a lot in... everyone knows about slavery and the abolishment of... But we don't really focus on it in school. We focus mostly on our own history. I learned a bit of Russian history. But, yeah. Who am I gonna play as now? So it's interesting. The first ever law that was passed in the newly federated Australian Parliament was an anti-immigration law that was trying to hide the fact that it was actually anti-immigration. Like, what it did is that Britain wasn't going to be happy if we barred certain countries from immigrating. So instead, the Parliament passed a law where, and it said it was about literacy, where they could request you to do a literacy test in practically any European language. So it's like, oh, you're from whichever country, huh? Like, well, how about you take a literacy test in Russian? Oh, what's that? You don't speak Russian? Well, I guess you failed the literacy test. Bye-bye. But that changed because for jobs and whatnot, we actually needed to have immigration. Australia is, I'd say Australians are kind of a little. We're negative about America's system, how it operates, because and we're kind of cynical about the, like, you know, you could only make it where people talk about, you know, it's the land of the free and, like, only in America, and it's like, no, the free world exists outside of America, so we're pretty cynical and we roll our eyes at attitudes of, like, only in America could you do this. It's like, yeah, only in America you could become, like, a star in Hollywood, but There's plenty of places in the world where you can build a life for yourself and live in the free world. But you know, but in person, when we're talking to you face to face, we kind of just treat everyone. I'd like to think that we kind of just treat people on a case-by-case basis. If you're cool, we think you're cool. But there is a bit of a cynicism around America, I'd say. But that being said, Australia is a much younger country than America. So America had to kind of be, you know, the American experiment had to happen long before. Like we've been able to learn a lot from like how other countries have done things. We've been able to adapt quickly, being so young. Like we federated in 1901. So we've only been a federated nation for a little over 100 years. So with that, there is a lot of opportunity to grow and change things. Whereas in America, you know, things are set up so in the way that it's changing things. It's like a little too late now. Like police reform is difficult because the way that it is that each county does things themselves instead of a standard practice, and if you want to challenge that, you're going to have to challenge the entire ideological foundation of America, being small government, independence, do-it-yourself kind of mindset. And, you know, there's also so much money involved. Like, the size of you guys' industries and your corporations are astronomical. So it's hard, like, so much of, like, there is aspects of that here. Like, the mining industry here does sometimes line the pockets of different political parties, but the extent to which profits impact the American, like, congressmen and women is just, it's insane how much money gets given in donations to pass certain bills. Like, it's crazy. Like, even people who have spent their lives, like, on some sort of, like, they build up their portfolio and everything on a particular issue. Like, Kamala Harris built her thing on, I'm pretty sure, on corruption and on, like, she built her portfolio on addressing corruption with, like, multi-level marketing and scams, particularly those that targeted ethnic minorities, like the Latino community. And she did a lot of those things, but then when it came to asking her to do something about Herbalife was so powerful that she ended up selling out and not prosecuting them. And this is someone who'd spent her whole career prosecuting MLMs. So this isn't a very Australian perspective, I know, but as much as America, I think that America is quite broken. It's like, well, you know, it happened, it was founded, what, 200 years ago? And the whole, and nothing had been tried like it before. So it's easy now to criticize what it's become, but I also got to understand that my country's a lot younger, so we've been able to learn and change much more quickly. Yeah, we kind of have the same with our equivalent of Republican and Democrat is called Liberal and Labour, but the Liberal Party is right-wing and Labour is left-wing, which is weird. Generally, Australia is a lot more to the centre than America is. Like some of the people that are in the Republican Party and how far they go aren't in the Liberal Party, but in what's called the Nationals. Because different parties, we have to make the majority of the House in either the upper or lower house, parties can form alliances. So you can have the Liberals and the Nationals and whatnot work together to form a majority over Labour and the Greens. Just as an example. We do have preferential voting, but where you can put like, okay, first preference, second, third, fourth, fifth, and what people don't realise is that if you put your preferred party as first, and then either Labour or Liberal as second, that means that you can actually help increase funding for your preferred party's next campaign for the next vote, but people just don't seem to understand how that works. Or they're just too loyal to one of the two major parties. Personally, I prefer to vote third party first. I usually vote for the Australian Christians Party, which was a branch off initially of... There was the Christian Democrats, but they were quite very conservative, and there was even like some slight little bit. It's like how among the Democrats there are Christians, yes, but there are some within the Democrats who actually are anti-Christian. Not all of them, of course, but like in the same way, there were some members of the Christian Democrats, the old party, that still had anti-Japanese resentment from the Second World War, and so they made they decided like 10 years ago to make a younger offshoot called Young Australian Christians, and then they decided that instead of having the old party and then the new party as the offshoot, that they just went all in on the new party, because the old party was really not reflecting the values of the current generation of Christians in Australia. It's funny that because of those old ties of the old party, the old Christian party, to the Liberal Party, which is the Conservative Party here, Australian Christian Party is more aligned in terms of like, if they get a seat, they'll give their seats to Liberal, form a majority, or something like that. When you look at the policies, I think that they're a little bit closer to the left-wing party. But unfortunately, the left-wing party here has a few. It's like how it's within party politics. Thank you. I do like history. I haven't studied it at uni or anything, but I like to try to understand the world. My view on like truth is, you know how some people say like speaking their truths, or that your truth, my truth, I believe that there is an objective truth, but our ability to know it perfectly is limited, but that we should still try. So I have put a technical, super nerdy word on it. I'm a post-positivist, I suppose. Because positivism says there is objective truth and it's universal and it can be known and applied. Post-positivism says, you know, you got the spirit. You're a little confused, but you got the spirit. It says, yeah, I see what you got going there with the whole, like, there is objective truth. But I also see that, you know, it's maybe not possible to always see things perfectly for what they are. I try to understand things as close to the truth as possible. How do I know I'm getting closer to it? I don't, but I keep trying. And I look and listen, and if someone has a different opinion than me, I go, okay, what can I learn from this person? Doesn't mean that I'll agree entirely with their perspective, but there might be aspects of their perspective that I'll incorporate into mine so that I have what I think will be a better understanding. Because if anyone is convinced that they're right about everything, they're not. Because no one is right about everything. And the more convinced you are that you're right about everything, the more that it's just like, stop. Just stop. Like, you need to be able to recognize that you could be wrong. If you can't recognize you might be wrong about something, you can't change your mind. Anyway, I'm talking too much. So I don't believe, like, when people say my truth, it's like I translate that in my head to, okay, so your perspective. Because if it's truth, then we have to start thinking some very crazy things. Like, someone can say that my truth is, and then they say something absolutely horrible that is absolutely wrong and objectively wrong. Like, my truth is that the Holocaust didn't happen, and you're like, what? No, that's not your truth. That's your belief, and that belief is not based on is not really well supported at all. Absolutely, dude. The problem is that we are emotional beings. And we do get emotional, and we sometimes do get uncomfortable when someone challenges the way we think. And out of that emotion, we get angry and upset, and we don't realize, hang on, I'm not angry and upset at this person. I'm just really uncomfortable right now because the way that I view things, my whole thing that centers how I look on life, is being challenged. And that's uncomfortable sometimes. But we need to be willing to be uncomfortable. Because if we're not willing to be uncomfortable, then we're not willing to grow. And, yeah. Like, I like to think of things like, I want to see, like, what I would call, an embrace, there is very much more and more of it, and I think this is, like, you look at the Enlightenment period, right, where they did have to push back on religious institutions, and I recognize that even as a Christian, because, like, you know, Galileo Galilei was forced to reside in his own home and whatever, and he was right, because a misunderstanding of one of the Psalms of David, which really just reflected that David believed that the earth was the shape of what was commonly believed at that time, and the idea that, you know, everything revolved around the earth. Nowhere in the Bible does it actually explicitly say that. It was more just that we thought because we're so important to God, that God made us the center of the universe, when that's not actually said. So I think of, like, you know, a post-Enlightenment Christianity, and you know, right now I think Christianity is at an interesting point where we're going to have to wrestle with you know, LGBT rights and everything, and how we've treated LGBT people in the past, and different denominations have different views on whether or not you should be in a same-sex relationship or not. But what I want to see is people going, you know, the Pride movement was necessary because before being out and proud about who you are, there was just shame and hiding it. And there were people in the church who felt shame and were hiding it. And that's not good. So it's going to be an interesting kind of next few decades, I think, where
someone needs to fill this saddle.
Yeah, anyway, like a post where it just, I don't know, I'm thinking too much of just being able to play and focus and do this at the same time. But you know, I'm very much, again, I'm very much a believer in the Enlightenment and in my Christian faith. I think that a scientific understanding doesn't need to conflict with theology, because theology doesn't ask the mechanisms behind which the Earth was created. It asks why the Earth was created. What is its purpose? No, I don't think so, because there's
come on, Cole. Try a little harder.
There's choices you make, and then there's things beyond your control. What the science has shown is that being attracted to people of the same sex is very much, like, mostly outside of people's control.
Death ain't on my doorstep yet. Take heed.
Like, sometimes I'm, with my ADHD, I can be impulsive, and that impulsivity can influence my behaviour and my choices. But having ADHD isn't a sin, but I can do wrong things through my impulsiveness, if that makes sense. You know, it's a lot easier, you know, given that, like, I can medicate and I can get treatment and stuff, but people like willingly go and try to go to conversion therapy, and then they become depressed after doing it, and a lot of people who try that end up losing their faith and thinking that God hates them, and that's not the truth. God loves people.
I gave up my father's empire, a misfortune alongside it.
And I think from the beginning, the problem is that conversion therapy, the idea of it was based on ideological assumptions rather than science. And if you're offering a, quote, therapy to people, it needs to be evidence-based. It needs to be backed by science, and it wasn't. And so there was just a bunch of assumptions made on it and said, these assumptions are correct, so therefore you must hate your parents, or there must be something to do with that. And it's like, no. How did you come to that conclusion? Did you test your theory with science? No, they just assumed it. Like how now, you know, during the hippie movement, I'm not sure what it was like in America, but in Australia, during like the whole hippie movement, Christians stopped going to the universities. They didn't encourage their children to go to higher education, and that was a huge mistake, because now we've been left behind culturally, and we haven't, and you know, Christian thought needs to continue to progress, because things didn't just go, you know, there's been thousands of years of further development of theology through the, you know, the early Christianity, the medieval period, to the Reformists, to now. There's still more and more theology and more paradigms and new things being discussed. All of it in its foundation in the Bible. But our understanding of Scripture and of God needs to continue to change over time. But we left, unfortunately, the academic spaces out of fear. And only now are we coming back into it. And unfortunately, a lot of young Christians are going into the unis where there hasn't been Christian thought developing alongside all the other academic thought, and so they don't know what to think anymore. Yeah, basically. I think we should move on from this, though. I know that different denominations think different things, so... And I don't want to upset anyone watching or get, you know, YouTube's terms of service. Probably should move on from that. But yeah.
Much obliged.
Very nice. One thing that I'm kind of wrestling with is my understanding of people who suffer from gender dysphoria. Is I'm trying to understand that, and like too often, like Christians' understanding of it is that it's some sort of rebellion or perversion or something, when it's not. It's people dealing with a neurological condition, and we're trying to. I don't think that. For me, I think that it's something that individual Christians and their families who were suffering from gender dysphoria, they need to. It's between them and God and their, you know, health specialists, and people will have to wrestle with it, because there's people who have talked extensively about a new theology of transgenderism, and there's so many hours of things to read about it and to listen to about it, but I think that we can't push anything in particular. We have to just... It's very complex.
Is where I say it.
Like, I used to think very differently about it.
Trying.
It's not pleasant, but you see, it was worth it in the end.
I hope so.
Thank you. That is hopefully my goal, because I look at the suffering of different people that maybe we're not really understanding yet, and they feel so disconnected from the church, and it just hurts me. It hurts me, and because I know that God loves them, and some of them are very upset, and they feel anger towards God, and they feel rejection towards God, or that God rejected them, when that's not the case. And it hurts me to think about how much they're suffering. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to live like, to have that, to suffer from gender dysphoria or whatnot. Like, it sounds horrible. And like, imagine like feeling so out of sync with your body or like that. Like, it just sounds horrible, and there's no like cure for it. There's only treating it as best as you think you can. And so it's, for a lot of people, it's lifelong suffering, and I want those people to be able to find God and to know His love, you know?
No one can withstand me!
Fortunately, there are also some charlatans who claim to be about standing up for truth, but they will, and calling themselves Christians, but they will knowingly misrepresent things. And it's like, how can you call yourself Christian and say that you're trying to uphold the truth when you willingly spread misinformation? Like, no.
Let's do this!
Group up at my position.
And that's the unwillingness to wrestle. Faith, within our faith, we should wrestle with it. We should be trying to understand as best we can. I know for some, you know, they don't... I'm a bit of a deep thinker. I think about these things a lot. And for most people, you know, when they're working a 9 to 5, they don't have the time and the energy and whatnot. And so they rely on other people who are supposed to help them out, but these charlatans come along and pretend to be that when they're really just spreading misinformation for their own gain, because they're so rigid in their understanding of it that they don't want to wrestle. They want to ignore anything that doesn't fit into... It's really just confirmation bias. If anything doesn't go their way and they say, well, the science actually backs this up. What, one study? That's not the science. The science actually says other things. And that what you're doing is actually going to contribute to people suffering. It's not that everyone who thinks these things...
10 seconds.
Push him back or answer to me.
I didn't see the last bit. It makes me SI, that's where it is. It's not just representation of Christianity. People are trying to push what they think is a Christian idea by misrepresenting the science. And it's like, if it's the truth, why do you have to misrepresent the science? Sounds like a lie. Anyway, like, there are organizations that claim to be about Christian values, and then they'll willingly put out studies where they fudge the numbers to say why this, that, the other shouldn't be, and it's like, no. Like, and people, I think unfortunately a lot of Christians don't want to confront these things, maybe, like people talking about how Chick-fil-A, unfortunately Chick-fil-A does actually support groups that have has donated to groups that have created false studies and pushed them for their own agenda. I think that not everything said about Chick-fil-A negative about Lee is true, but a lot of it, there is legitimate criticisms to be made about the different groups they support, and I don't know if the founder actually knows that. Because again, charlatans come along and pretend thing. It's like how during one of the revivals in America, there were people who, there were fake revivalists who claimed to be healers, but what they were actually doing is that they, in their earpiece, they had people backstage telling them about different people and telling them information and so they pretended that they were prophesying when really they were just lying, and they were using the Christian revival in America to make money off people like that. And that doesn't, I am someone who does believe in science, but I also do believe that healing is still, there are ways of healing in the here and now, but there are people who will be charlatans and will pretend to be about something and will use misinformation either for money, or they think that it's for the greater good. It's like, well, no, your methods also matter, because if you have to use dirty methods, then maybe what you think you're fighting for isn't actually the truth of it. But I need to shut up and play Overwatch. Anyway. I can see, yeah, possibly. I think it also just speaks to humanity's brokenness. Yeah, I'd love to give a history lesson. The foundation of Australia, I don't really know too much about that, and I think it is a pretty plain story, because there wasn't like some big war over it like the Americans had. But what is interesting is the way that the common man got the vote in Australia is very interesting. So I'm not sure what year it started, but at some point, late 1800s, I think, gold was discovered in Australia, and that led to the gold rush. So people from all around the world, mostly Europe, but you also had a lot of people from China and other spots from the East, came to Australia to try and find gold. It was kind of like, it was a lot like the Wild West in that. It was very much like the Wild West, you know, like the American frontier. People were trying to make their fortune. And a lot of people didn't. And the prices for land to mine on and whatnot was very high, and people got fed up, and they eventually set up something called the Eureka Stockade, and the Eureka Stockade was like a they had built a fort and thought, we're going to take a stand for the right to vote, and a few other rights, but mostly the right to vote. And the right to own land, the right to vote, and another one. And they tried to set up a stockade, but then British troops came in and they got smashed. Like, they got completely destroyed. But then it came time for prosecution, for the courts. And so they needed people to stand in the jury. The jury stood in solidarity and refused to convict them as guilty. So they went to another town. Again, the jury stood in solidarity. They went from small town to town to town to town to town, which wasn't legal, I don't think. Wasn't even legal. And tried to get the leaders of the Eureka Stockade convicted of conspiracy or something. There probably is someone better to explain this, much better to explain this than me. But no jury would prosecute them. And eventually, they had to let it go, and it became clear that the will of the people was the right to vote and the right to own land. And so that started that, and that's how it happened. And the idea of Australia that it would be, when it federated, is it would be the working man's paradise. And to an extent, we kind of have that, but big industries like mining and whatnot have kind of tipped it so that it isn't exactly egalitarian. Like, people were more equal in terms of wealth. I don't believe in like that a nation can exist as a communist kind of everyone has the same amount of money idea, but it was pretty equal. It's gotten less so over time. There are some people who've gotten very, very deep pockets. Particularly guys like Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Murdoch Press, which he owns more media in the free world than he is the largest media empire in the free world, and he uses it to push very, very, very conservative ideas because it benefits him financially. Because, you know, even if you're socially or culturally conservative, and you're convinced that, oh man, they don't call hot cross buns anymore, they're now holiday buns. This is the liberals gone mad. Look what the left has done. And so, if they can get you upset about things that literally don't matter, they can convince you to vote for the Conservative Party, because the Conservative Party is more laissez-faire in its approach to economic management, and so that allows him to further his deep pockets in the mining industry. And he... Rupert! And, yeah, Rupert Murdoch, I'm pretty sure he owns Fox News. He owns Fox. And he pushes conservatism in America because it benefits him financially. He doesn't. I don't think he really gives a hoot. You know, he pushes climate denialism. He's been very much pushing against a voice to Parliament in Australia, which I think is because he wants to be able to continue to exploit traditional and to take land with important cultural significance to the Aboriginal people in Australia, and he wants to be able to blow it up for iron ore and whatnot. Like, that's what they did there was a site called the Jungian Gorge, which was blown up, which had cave paintings that date back to yonkers ago, and they knew that this area was of significant cultural importance to the Aboriginal people, and they blew it up anyway. And it's shocking. And he wants to fearmonger about it, because what the voice for Australia Parliament is going to be is that basically, because the Aboriginal people never gave up ownership of the land, it was stolen from them. There's been some people have been pushing for a group that will be independent of the government, which will give advice to the government on issues and policies that concern the Aboriginal people. They won't vote on anything. They won't be members of Parliament. They'll just be an advisory board. But the reason that people want that to be written into the Constitution is so that this advisory board never has to placate or cater to any government, because then that means that government could just get rid of the program. But if it's planted in our Constitution, they can speak freely and openly without fear of the program being cancelled. I wouldn't say I'm a never-ending well of knowledge. I often talk to my dad, who's much more conservative than me, but he understands things that I simply don't. He understands about, like, he was in the fire safety industry. He knows a lot about some of the biggest the biggest sellers in software that the general consumer never hears about. And it's interesting hearing him talk about it, because he has industry knowledge on it, and he has understanding of the market world that I simply don't. And sometimes I challenge his worldview, and sometimes we clash on that, but I still value the fact that he has knowledge that I don't. And he understands things about the world that I don't. I think I challenge him, and I bring, I think, new perspectives that I think that the young Christian world should maybe look into. But I still value what he has to teach me, and because he's a fully ordained pastor, and he's got a master's in leadership, I think, and so I understand that while I have a perspective on Christian thought that is a bit more left-leaning, I understand that he has, and yes, some of the models that he was taught on have since been challenged within Christian thought, like the nature. What does it mean when we say that within the Protestant world that all Scripture is God breathed and God inspired? Does that mean it's like the secretary model, or which he kind of believes in? I don't, because there are some things that don't hold up with that, such as you know, different accounts in the Gospels have different details as to, you know, who visited. You know, I didn't want to make it riddle me this. Who was in Paris? But like, who went to the tomb after 3 days? Was it just Mary and Martha? Was it Mary and Martha and some other women? Was it Mary, Martha, and some of the other disciples? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John give different accounts of that. So God wouldn't give, if it was a secretary model, in which God says, and write this down. This is what God said to write down. It's like, no. Some parts of the Bible might be that, but Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John don't look to be that. But I also understand that even though some of his perspectives are a bit outdated because of changes in Christian thought and in biblical scholarly, I understand that he has a deeper understanding of doctrine than I do. So sometimes I actually work. Oh no, I don't work, but I volunteer to run the media at our church's campus. And so most Sunday mornings I wake up early with him, and I'm sitting in the car, and I'm going to change my tone. Sorry, my autism sometimes makes me speak very, very monotone, especially when I'm thinking really deeply. It's a good thing actually that I don't have a camera, because the more I think, the harder it is for me to maintain eye contact. Anyway, so yeah, sometimes some mornings I'll be sitting in the car with Dad, and I will ask him questions, and we'll just talk and we'll exchange, I guess, different perspectives. And you know, I think sometimes my dad reflects that he appreciates my critical thinking more when I say something that he agrees with. But we're all human, and so yeah. But I think he definitely does show me that he respects, and he sometimes will, when he wants to hear my perspective on things, he'll say, okay, so tell me, what is your understanding of this? Because I've studied psychology and whatnot, which he did a elective of the psychology of emotions as part of his Bible college, because that was important to understanding leadership. And he enjoyed that elective, though he said it was very challenging for him because he's much more of a concrete thinker than I am more of a theory guy. But my mum's more of a abstract thinker, so I think I really I think being the child of my parents has really blessed me, I think, in that I like to take abstract thought and turn it into something measurable and concrete. So, I'm terrible at maths. Most forms of science I appreciate, but am not very good at. But psychology is a really sweet spot for me, because it's about theorizing, taking those ideas and turning it into something we can measurably test, and going back to the theory saying, okay, did these findings support our theory, or do we need to go back to the drawing board or whatnot? But yeah, So, my dad will sometimes ask me if he's dipping his toes in something that I know a little bit about. He'll ask me.
Come on, Cole. Try a little harder.
I didn't get the last part of that message. I want to believe that we will because I have some really good ones. And I'm assuming but that is a good question. I think that I have two thoughts about it. I think that partly when we see is that yes, we will maybe have answers to these things. Maybe in heaven things will just be a lot more clearer. But at the same time, maybe we will just be in such, I think also that we will be in such awe in God's presence that those questions will have they will be so low in our priority list to have answered because we'll just be flat on our faces in the presence of God in all his glory and just marveling at the mystery before us.
Not exactly what
yeah, they won't matter anymore. We won't care. You know? I mean, the Revelations can be a scary, or Revelation can be a scary book. It's best to understand it that it wasn't written to be just for us. It was also written for the time period. And so it was talking about the concerns that they had as well. Like, some believe that the Mark of the Beast was referring to Emperor Nero, who was persecuting Christians. He was a Roman emperor. And so, whenever you get into, like, the Christian conspiracy, like, side of YouTube or whatever, or the internet, you gotta understand that a lot of them also have a... I'm not gonna trust any institution, even if it's a... and they're the type... They don't want to actually go and study anything at Bible college that will bring a much clearer and a much more biblically sound understanding of what they're talking about. It's like, you know, people who hate universities but believe in QAnon or something, like, or like to believe in conspiracy theories because they want to feel like they have an understanding, and you want to feel like your eyes have been opened and you understand things. It's like, you know, we have institutions dedicated to Christian thought. You know? I do not understand how McCree's freaking ult works. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I sometimes go off on tangents. That's my ADHD as well. But, blame it on my ADD! The final sentence in scripture is, he will wipe every tear and there will be no more suffering. Amen. Like, you know, I think sometimes we forget to, you know, sometimes we try to sell, like, if you find Christ, your life will be better. And it's like, you know, sometimes life on earth sucks. And there are parts of it that do suck. And there are some who will know for a lot of their life will be profound suffering. But we know that, and we have a hope, that the things of this world will fade and there will be no more suffering. And those who are found in Christ will be with him. And I think that's something that, you know, going back to gender dysphoria, I think that's something that we need to say, you know what, the suffering of gender dysphoria is horrible and there's no clear-cut answer as to what should be done about it. but in heaven, in paradise, there will not be any suffering. There will not be gender dysphoria. There will not be cancer. There won't be, you know, crippling depression. I need to focus. I'm not playing very well. Something that's also interesting is our understanding of what hell is in the English translation is very, very confused, because you know, that's a really, really good point. And what I would point to is that when God talks about healing and when it talks in the scriptures about salvation and eventual glorification, we have an understanding of the now and the not yet. Yeah, I understand. God is a diligent... It says that it says in scripture that God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So don't, you know, sometimes things take a lot of time. Like, there was prophecy over my mum and dad for things that decades ago, when they were my age, when they were like in their 20s, that they're fulfilling now. And they're in their 50s. You know? And there have been times where they went into ministry in the church, and then had to step out of ministry again, and they had to re-examine their whole understanding of and their whole doctrine and theology of profession and of calling and all these sorts of things. And that was not easy. That was not easy for them, because it felt like just as they were doing the things that God set them apart to do, circumstances meant that they had to leave it. But then a few years later, they were able to move back into it again, and in a way that now they simply wouldn't be doing the things now that they would be doing if they were still in ministry where they were before. And you know, it's so easy for us to forget the things that God has done for us. Like, you look at the Israelites when they had been brought out of Egypt, freed from slavery, and, you know, brought through the desert in something like a few weeks, and then they come to the promised land, and then they send scouts to scope out the land. 9 of them come back and said, "We felt like grasshoppers in front of these giant people that were there." And I don't think that don't go down like the conspiracy theory, like Nephilim giants, like rabbit hole, because literally it probably was just people who were very strong and well built. Like, imagine like a Middle Eastern, you know, a Middle Eastern people from back then meeting like an Islander person. Like, Islanders are big dudes. Like, compared to that, they'd be like, dude, we look like grasshoppers compared to them. Of course, there was no way that those two different people groups would ever meet, but that's probably a lot more closer to what it is anyway. They'd literally been brought out of slavery, and then they're scared of, and they'd fought battles in the desert against other groups that tried to attack them, and then they said, we were like grasshoppers, we have no chance against them. It's like, You literally were brought out of Egypt. And it's so easy for us to like go like, man, how could they be of so little faith? And it's like, well, let's take a look at our own lives. How often do we do that ourselves? So often, you know? Anyway. It's too easy, people. Oh. I have been apparently receiving invitations that I didn't do. Of course it is. Yeah, of course it can be frustrating. Life on Earth is frustrating. Like, let's be real about it.
Welcome to reality.
But what we do know is that His grace is sufficient. I mean, I remember when my first battle with depression, like my 3rd year into university, and I didn't notice that it was coming on during 2nd year, but in 3rd year I finally realized what it was, when I just went numb, and I knew I had to see a doctor, and I had to hold on to, what really helped me was holding on to how Paul wrote how, you know, he felt like he had a thorn in his side, and he said, ask God 3 times, take this away from me, and God said, my grace is sufficient for you. And so I understood that even in the suffering of battling depression, God's grace was sufficient. And there were so many times where people had words for me that was exactly what I needed to hear. Like, one guy at church, like, he didn't know me. This was a new church that I was going to. And I was going for prayer, and he said that God told him that sometimes the enemy likes to be a mimic, and that he likes to whisper things in your head that you think are your thoughts. And I was just like, that is what depression does. Depression makes you think things that aren't logical, and makes you think things about yourself that are so self-defeating, and it messes with the way you think. And it was just like, wow. Like, they had no idea what I was going through at the time. But that was just so... It was exactly what I needed. Because depression does do that. It mimics you and gives you, and messes with your thoughts. Be a fly on the wall. I've never ever thought about that. That's where my autistic brain takes that too literally and goes, well, actually, a fly wouldn't be able to perceive what's going on, so what would be the point? But, I don't know. It might be cool to, like, know if Martin Luther really did nail his thesis to the... I'm sorry if this offends any Catholics watching, but, you know, I believe in Protestantism. That's what that it is what it is. But I'd like to maybe see if he really did nail his 95 thesis to the door of his church, of the church. Because there's, you know, it's a famous story. I guess that would be a non-biblical.
I'll try a different approach.
Biblical? I don't know, because would I want to be there when Jesus spoke? Like, it would be incredible, but you know, I'd also, if I was a Jewish person at the time, I'd be, you know, I'd be in a land conquered by the Romans. My home country wouldn't have its own political independence. The temple was not respected. I'd have to pay taxes to an occupying foreign nation. I would be pretty, knowing my personality, I respect authority when that authority shows itself to be serving the people, but when it's I do not like authority that seeks to its own end. So I'd be probably really rebellious and upset and angry if that was me. Maybe that's a look into how some native people feel today, being colonized. Like,
30 seconds remaining.
Imagine not, like, if you're a Native American, or you're Aboriginal, or you were, I'm not sure what the Native Canadians are called, or anything like that, and knowing that your ancestors were, your land was taken from you, or was taken from you. And even if you do believe in what the nation has become maybe now, and its institutions now, you know that your people had genocide committed against them. That sounds like a really crappy deal. Especially when policies are made about you or that affect you without you having much say when you were here first, you know? That's why I'm in support of The Voice, because I think that's horrible. And there are a lot of Aboriginal people in Australia who just feel completely disenfranchised. And how are we going to expect them to conform to how our society works now when they feel so jaded about how things have come about, you know? Anyway, that's just what I've been thinking about a little bit lately. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure if I would want to live in biblical times. That would be intense, but you'd also be running from the Egyptians, or the, you know, ancient Egyptians, you know, running after you. That'd be scary. I'm not sure if I'm what I think about the historical narrative of the Israelites being slaves in Egypt. I'm not sure if there's much historical evidence for it, because I think some parts of the Old Testament need to be understood as not fact that happened, but stories that have truth behind who God is. It's like the oldest story, the oldest recorded story in human history is the Epic of Gilgamesh. Now, obviously, the Epic of Gilgamesh didn't actually happen the way it was written. It's a epic story, and it's a mythology, and it's entertaining, and it's got this kind of idea of, like, you know, of the human condition, but it's not historical fact. It does, however, point to the fact that there was a Mesopotamian king called Gilgamesh. Now, at that point in human history, they didn't record dry, you know, who, what, where, why, how records of history. They wrote epic stories with narratives. So when we understand, for example, the creation account in Genesis, it's not meant to be taken as a scientific or it would be a thrill, or a factual how God created the world. It's more speaking to God's nature as that he, you know, walked in the garden. He was so intimate with humanity that it's like he walked in the garden in the cool of the evening with them. He didn't physically walk, because we know that he is without a physical body, but it's imagery. But in understanding that, we also have to understand this is not all biblical scholars believe this, but some believe in this historical arc in which God slowly which God revealed his nature to us, relative to what we were ready to understand at different historical times. Because you see, like, when he like, why would God ever ask Abraham to sacrifice Jacob? Well, if you look at the beliefs that people had at the time, they believed that to avoid famine and for your crops to grow, you need to make sure that you sacrificed your firstborn child. And so God brought a paradigm shift there, where he said, do not lay a hand on the boy. And then Abraham looked up and saw a ram stuck in some bushes by its horns, and he realized, oh, I will sacrifice this instead. And he was literally given the ram for free. And so you go from human sacrifice, child human sacrifice of your firstborn, to sacrificing an animal. And then you see to the point where, and then we get to the New Testament, God comes in human form and sacrifices himself for us. Now, if we were to jump straight from where, you know, we can be saved through God's grace, people were not ready to understand that. People still struggle with the concept of grace now. So that's a one of my look at God in the Old Testament. It's like God had to meet us where we understood. But that's a discussion that we could spend all day on, really. Anyway. I could use some healing, please. Healing, please.
I need healing.
Die, you sucker. They're just educated guesses, which I didn't see the rest. They are educated. It's biblical scholars. Some biblical scholars devote their life to trying to figure that out.
Increasing altitude.
Incoming! Meteor strike!
It is funny, but we can thank the Council of Nicaea for figuring out what was and wasn't canon. And then if you're Protestant, what the Reformists later figured out again. Hello, Mother. How you doing? Okay.
All systems nominal. Taking to the air.
Oh dear.
We have to take back.
Always more to learn.
Wow, dude, go to sleep. Damn. It's good to have you, my man. Hope to see you next time. Ooh! Popping off. Yes. Okay.
I look after my own.
Have the robot.
Face the sunrise. Do something.
Check confirmed.
Meteor strike!
Ooh. No, I don't have a stream schedule. I kind of just do whenever. But, maybe I'll stream on Friday, which will be Thursday for you.
This is our last chance. Get that robot!
Just with time zone differences.
Stop them
Okie dokie.
Play of the game.
7 final. That feels weird. God bless you too, man.
Justice reigns from above.
Go show the world his love, man. Kermit. Kermit. Alright. We will be back very soon. Why don't I get an up and element? Man. Man. Remember to subscribe. Hello, Mama. Alrighty. He's back again, and about time too. Looks like a Nerf gun almost. Great, yay. Credits. What is my challenges? What's my motivation? Forget the motivation, just say hi.
Welcome to Jungle.
Hello everybody. What hero are we playing with?
Humanity is shackled.
Greetings.
I
Hello
will
there.
find the key.
Greetings.
1. Attackers incoming.
Misery made manifest.
Ooh, that wasn't me. I think it's bounced back, forth, back, forth, back, forth in that space, and yeah. Thank you for the healing. Okay, that's not good.
Great minds are always persecuted.
Oh dear.
Checking in. I am important.
Power grows.
I'm gonna maybe should switch out to something else. I should have shot some damage instead. Hell yeah, that was good.
Pain is inevitable. Careful, we're outnumbered. Your end is within my reach.
Oh.
No opposition is insurmountable. Eyes open now.
Thank you.
Heroes never die.
Big scanner lock. Now, to start anew.
Making a full recovery.
If I don't get play of the game for that, I don't know what will. careful, and then I could have shot. Yes, thank you. Too late though, we're not in a good position anymore. Come on. Come on.
Good minds are all.
Ah, shame. Alright everyone, I think we might leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. God bless you all, have a great day. See you later. Nice. Level 4.
Impeccable.